Try to do this before the wind starts blowing. So let me summarize what we're doing here. IP camera uses internet protocol, that's what IP is. Can do Wi-Fi or Ethernet. There's the Wi-Fi antenna. Not outside rated as far as being waterproof. It would probably die if it got rained on. So just keep that in mind. It's got infrared illuminators so it can see in the dark. Okay. And it's motorized. It can pan and tilt. Okay. It actually runs on 5 volts, which will make it a lot easier later. But in the meantime, I don't have a cable for 5 volts. You could run this off of a USB battery bank, though, I'm pretty sure. I mean, the voltage would be right. So it needs to be plugged in. I've been testing this off and on for a couple of years. I'd pull it out, play with it. I've got 2 of these, plus another one that somebody gave me. So I know they work, but I've never really had a good use for them. But I'm thinking they would be really awesome on the robot. So you've already got the camera and Wi-Fi and the motor, pan and tilt working. Okay. So what I don't know is how far it'll reach. I could just pull my extension cord out and, you know, go a couple hundred feet. What I want to do, right in front of the house here, okay, I've got a Wi-Fi router in the house. I want to see if I can at least get to the bottom of the driveway, about there. So we're going to start it here and test it, and then I'll keep moving it out. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we'll probably take the little silver step there. That's a good place to set it. I mounted it onto a piece of OSB just so it doesn't just tip over. It actually will sit by itself, but just, you know, a little bit extra. If the wind kicks up when we're testing, I could throw a clamp on that and hold it down. Okay, so to power this, we're going to use our little Harbor Freight inverter. This puts out 120 watts, and it runs on a cigarette lighter. So we've got our cigarette lighter adapter. Cigarette lighter is coming off of this screw terminal. It's just a convenient way to hook up things that I've already put ends on. A lot of these things I've been using off and on, so it's like, okay, we'll just hook it up to that. Now, I could use the 12-volt battery that I had earlier, but I was thinking, I've got these great big, 5 amp hour, 20-volt lithium batteries from Harbor Freight. These are what I used on the bike tour for the first half. I have 6 of these. I'd left here with 4, and I bought 2 more in California just to give me a little more runtime. So I got 6 of them. This would make a lot more sense to use these on the robot and not use the bike batteries, which is what I had been thinking of doing. Okay, so to get from 20 volts down to 12-ish, I've got this adapter. This is similar to the one that was on the bike, but it's only rated for 24 volts. The one on the bike is rated 36 or 48. And it outputs, this one outputs about 13.6 or something like that. So a little more than 12, which is completely fine, especially for the inverter. If you're in your truck with the engine running, you're going to have more than 12 volts. You have somewhere in 13 or 14, depending where your voltage regulator is set. Okay, which you can't set, they're just the way they are. But a car battery float voltage is in the 14 volt range. So this puts out not quite 14, but pretty close to 14. So basically what I'm going to do for now, I'll just use these and stick them in there. They're about the same size as the blade that would be in the tool that connects to the battery. And then I've got a voltmeter here that'll show me how much is coming out of the output of this. I know this is close to 20. I just want to make sure what my output is here. If it's putting out 20, then I got a problem. Okay. Shouldn't explode. I actually have been testing this, so it should be fine. A little bit of a spark, and it's basically getting all the circuits going. Like there's probably capacitors in here, so when you first hook it up, now you're not going to be able to see it, but this voltmeter here is just 13.7. Okay, so that's what we expected. Okay, I've got a green light on here. You also probably can't see that. So let's watch the camera. The camera will do a boot up. Takes it a couple seconds to get going. So just put that in there. Camera should power. Give it a few seconds, and it's going to be also looking for the Wi-Fi signal. Okay, there's a click. That means it's waking up. Takes it a while. Okay, the camera will pan 180 one way and then 180 the other way. and then it'll come back to center, and it'll pitch up and down, or down and up. So it's got a pretty good amount of movement, and it's fairly fast. Okay, now that we got that, I'll show you the steps here. Since it's running automatic configure, DHCP, which is how things automatically configure, we have to find it. For my router, since I live out in the middle of nowhere, I don't think I've even got a password on my router. Submit. So my router, I know the IP address for the router, so I set a bookmark for that. So in my case, 192.168.0.2, and here is my devices. I just happen to remember that MAC address. If I had both cameras hooked up, they would both have the same address, part of the same address, so they both started in 48. So in that case, it's number 14, okay? So it's 192.168.0.14. All of the addresses will be in the same kind of a range. If the camera wasn't turned on, it wouldn't show up on that list. The problem is these are going to change constantly. That's the issue, all right? So let's see, that was camera B, but it's the wrong address. So I said 14, and my shortcut, I'd set it to 17 last time, so let's change that, 17 to a 14. And then it'll want me to password. This is written on the bottom of the camera. This particular one is, password is 888888. Okay, so there's a view from the camera. Now on this this right here, you can click on the sides and make it pan around, and there's also presets you can do. Now the camera just happens to be aimed towards the front door, so if I click up and to the right, wait, there it goes. It's a little bit clunky. Okay, so there's a shot of the front door, and it is actually moving it. So what I can do, let's bring it back down. We can hit this button here. It gives me, oh, now it just went all at once. It might be cold. These generally work pretty freely, but it seems like it's not wanting to go very fast. Okay, let's say there's a button here that's horizontal patrol is what it's called, or horizon patrol. So it'll sit here and pan back and forth. Solar panels, that's its antenna, the big white thing. And then it'll come back. Eventually. I noticed this yesterday when I was using it. Sometimes it would get to a spot and not want to move, and then eventually it'll start going, so I don't know if it's getting stuck or what it's doing. Okay, so we'll just stop that. It's also got a vertical mode that will pan up and down, or down and up I should say. I think this works better over a wired connection. The Wi-Fi is kind of spotty at best, but okay, so we'll just stop it there. Oh, I just hit the wrong button. Oh, it's doing vertical and horizontal at the same time. How funny. That's kind of cool. Totally useless, but kind of cool. Oh, there's the sun. It's funny, when it sees the sun, it's like, oh, it's too bright. It just puts a black dot in the middle. Which is kind of funny. Don't stare at the sun. That'll probably burn out the sensor. Stop. I want to kind of get this leveled and straight. Oh, we also got presets, so let me try those. Screwdriver. So the idea is, it's kind of like presets on your old radio or whatever. Jump to a specific position, so you can get it to any place and then set it, and it'll remember it. Okay, that's probably pretty good. Alright, so you can jump to a specific spot. You can also tell it to take a snapshot. There's a lot of settings in here. The camera has an ability to record video to its own memory card, which I think you can download remotely. You know, so this it's sort of a security camera, but if you put it someplace, anybody could walk up to it and, you know, just break the whole camera off of the bracket and leave, or steal your memory card and then they'd know all your stuff. Or if they stole the camera, you would know its own settings, and so if you had more cameras, the security camera could be the biggest liability because it's got all of the settings built into it. You know, so it's like, yeah, not ideal. But for what I'm doing, this would be actually pretty good. Now the other thing, I can't remember, how did I do this last time? Like so, I think. Yeah, okay, so you can, outside of the app, you can open up a window, and this is still a live window. It's not just a snapshot, but you don't have any way to control it from here. What I'm trying to figure out, I don't think they went super complicated, so there should be a way to send the commands back and forth. If I can figure that out, I could probably put it in something like Python, so that I could just say, you know, if I had a gamepad controller driving the robot, I could have the camera look left and right once in a while with just like a macro, right? So, okay, that's that. The other option, and this should work, is we should be able to load this in VLC. Didn't work yesterday though, and I'm not sure why. I don't think we used that. Let's try it. Hey, look at that. It did work. Okay. So there's VLC full screen. And okay, here's the thing that I couldn't remember last time. In VLC, we can record the stream to VLC, so I could be recording in here continuously like a DVR right on the computer and then play it back later, which would be great for the robot. So I could have I could have two cameras and each would have its own stream, and so I could be recording both streams on one computer off of Wi-Fi, right? Such as it is, it's not bad. So instead of, I was talking before about, I'm going to have other cameras on here. I can have a Raspberry, if I build the robot with the Raspberry Pi, we could have the Raspberry Pi camera. We could have a USB camera, like a webcam, hooked up to the Pi. But these are self-contained, so the camera is its own robot, essentially. So the robot could carry the robotic camera around, and I could directly be seeing and controlling the camera feed separate from the robot. So if one quits working, I could probably look and see what the camera could see, and then I'd know where the robot was. is a possibility. Okay, so that's the first part. So let's go move that and see how far it'll work. Okay, we're in position. I'm at the right next to where the hot tub is. That's what I call the hot tub. So we moved not very far. We'll do this incrementally. My phone has good Wi-Fi at the bottom of the driveway, so I'm going to kind of see how this one does. That'll come to life, and then I'll just go inside and control it. I don't have any indicator on it that I can find that tells me that it has a Wi-Fi signal, so I have to go inside and look. So I'm going to go inside and I'll just hit a couple of the presets and see that it works, and then we'll go from there. Okay, that all seems like it's working from inside, so let's walk it down the driveway a little bit. I'm not sure if this one can do motion detection or not. Some of them can. I don't remember seeing that. But one idea would be able to look back after the fact and it would say, okay, there was motion at this time, and then you'd see the rabbit. You know, that kind of thing, so you didn't have to look at 24 hours of footage. I know my phone works all the way down to here. And there was one day I tested and I was way out into there somewhere. It doesn't go through the bus though. That's one of the issues. Because yesterday when I was testing, I had it on the workbench opposite of the bus, and it wasn't working at all. I could go further than the bus, just not through the bus. Alright, I'm going to turn this around backwards so it's facing the house. I don't think that makes a lot of difference. Alright. Sure we're on the shot. Let's go ahead and get closer. Good, that should be fine. This is the bottom of the driveway. And that's the house. Never measured it. I'll count paces and see how far it is. Yeah, it's working great up there. Good signal. I also have it on my phone. It's a little different interface. It's kind of jerky on the phone. So I'm not sure if I'm on the limit of what the phone can reach or not. Yeah, it's kind of losing signal, but if I aim the phone towards the house, then it kind of comes back again. This is about the limit of what the phone can do. Okay, since I'm too far from the house for the phone to work, I can't control it from here. I thought I could. Okay, since it's still working, let's go half the distance to the tree that I tried last time. I should also say I'm just using a regular modem, or a router. I think it's a Belkin. I've got Belkin and I've got Netgear, so I don't remember which one I've got on there right now. Alright, while I was carrying it, the camera stopped panning. It was working. So I wonder if the panning is coming from the base or not. So this might be too far. I mean, we can still do high power Wi-Fi antennas and Wi-Fi boosters and everything, but yeah, I'm not seeing it on the phone either, so I'm going to walk back and see if I can see it from the house. If not, well, at least then we know how far we can go. So 70 paces, 210 feet if it was 3 feet a pace, so easy 200 feet. I think Wi-Fi by the spec could do up to 100 meters. Yeah, that is totally still working. I couldn't believe it. So we have gone, the hardest time seeing this in the daylight. Probably another 10 paces past there, and you can see the house in the background, so it still works to here. Based on that, last time I walked, I think I was just using the phone as my monitor. I had Wi-Fi. Yeah, I was walking with the phone all the way around the property. Wells Fargo Road is there, kind of in this way. It's not very far from here. Most of Wells Fargo Road at the top I had Wi-Fi. I went towards the back of the house where the gate is. I had Wi-Fi there, and I had Wi-Fi on the outside of where the dome circles were. So that big hole I dug on the other side of that, I still had Wi-Fi. So, okay, two things. I can't go over the whole property on Wi-Fi. Okay. At least not yet. Now, if I wanted to, if I had a directional antenna on the house, and if I knew where the rover was, then I could aim the antenna towards the rover, and also the rover could have its own directional antenna. So we could maybe do something like that, like we would say, okay, the rover is going to go into sector 4, so we would just aim the antenna towards sector 4, and then we could have, if the rover could tell us its exact coordinates, then we could calculate distance and bearing, direction, and aim the two antennas at each other. Yeah, that might work. Anyway, I think this proves that it works. I don't need to go all the way to the point it doesn't work, but I'm at least glad I can reach the bottom of the driveway. So that means most of the trail around close to the house should be in range. So I can drive around the house and explore a little bit and still see it. Most of the time, I mean, I'm going to use this for an excuse to be outside and walking around, but it would be kind of cool if I could have the rover sitting somewhere and send back pictures once in a while. Yeah. Alright, that's good enough for now. Kind of cool to see that it works.